Hey, my name is Kai, and for my cultural artifact presentation, I will be talking to you about pho. Pho is a Vietnamese noodle soup which is considered a staple food in our culture. Now, I chose this for my presentation because, while it is also my favorite food, pho just takes me back to my early childhood where, as a kid, I would eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's that good. And in this presentation, I will show you how to make pho. Actually, I will show you how to make a quick and easy version of it, as the traditional makings of pho takes about 8 to 12 hours, sometimes overnight, just to make the broth in. Really, who has that kind of time? Okay, so I got most of my ingredients laid out on the table here. We got oxtail. For the broth, we got oxtail, some neck bones, a brisket over here, and I got some onions and gingers. They're roasting on the fire. I'll show you later. Salt, some rock sugar, our spices. I got some star anise, fennel seeds, cloves, cardamom pods, and some cinnamon, and of course fish sauce. It's important. And what else? I think that's and for our garnishes, culantro, uh, some basil, some cilantro, and of course rice noodles, which is also called banh pha in Vietnamese. And like I said, these are the onions and gingers that are roasting over flame. Alright, so what I've got here is a pressure cooker. It's what I'm going to use to cook the oxtail faster. And now I'm going to add in some of the ginger that I roasted, as well as the onions. Good enough. Alright, so I just finished adding some salt and 6 cups of water, and now I'm going to start cooking it. Alright, so coincidentally enough, my mom and grandma are making their own pho, which of course they're going to be cooking overnight. And if your Asian grandma is anything like mine's, she'll have pots and pans in the oven for absolutely no good reason besides storage. Okay, so while the pressure cooker is doing its thing, I'm going to be toasting the spices that I have here. So as you can see, there's a lot of prep work to be done. As you saw before, I was charring the onions and the ginger. I'm toasting the spices that I have here right now, and what you didn't see before was that I parboiled the oxtail and the bones to get all the scum and blood out. Any person who intends to make pho should know this. Alright, so for part 2, I am going to add the flat cut brisket, the spices that I just toasted, rock sugar, and these cilantro stems. Okay, so I just got around to skimming the broth from the pressure cooker into a new pot, and now I am going to season it with the fish sauce from earlier. Alright, so I got everything plated for my pho. I got rice noodles that I cooked earlier, the green onions I cut, the cilantro, the brisket, and an oxtail. Now I'm going to pour in the broth. Alright, so I just tossed in some basil, cilantro, and sliced white onions that I was soaking in lemon juice. And on the side here, I've got hoisin sauce and sriracha, which is pretty much essential for pho. And I have it on the side, and I know that some people like to pour it into their soup, which I do sometimes too, but it really depends on my mood. And this is my version of pho. Now, there are two types of pho, mainly two types. You got your chicken and your beef. For this, it is a beef version that I used mostly with oxtail, which is what I prefer. Okay, so I realize that might seem more like a how-to video on how to make pho more than anything else, which wasn't my intention, but that's just how it turned out. And I'm sure you can find recipes online where different ingredients are used and some that are omitted, but this just happened to be my way. And while it is in no way authentic, it is, however, relatively quick and easy to make compared to how it's normally done, and it's delicious, which really isn't that what's most important here. Now, pho isn't just a comfort food to us, it's a part of our Vietnamese history. It represents one of the many components that make up our Vietnamese culture. It's not just pho alone. And that pretty much concludes my cultural artifact presentation. Thanks.